Ultrawings 2 came to the MetaQuest 2 last week, bringing plenty of flight-based action to VR. Here's our review straight from Upload's Thursday VR Gamescast.
I am really surprised to say that I absolutely love Ultrawings 2. I am pretty enamored by it. So I had a similar starting experience to you. You start off with this. Basically, there are 5 aircraft in the game. You kind of complete missions to get enough money to buy each different aircraft and also unlock different airports around 4 main islands, each airport unlocking new missions. And you start off with this kind of one-man chopper that's very like swoopy. It's actually like the most sickness-inducing thing in the game. Actually, it's interesting they started with this one because it's you kind of get the whole hang of it like pretty quickly, but it really does like throw you in at the deep end in terms of, okay, we are playing an intense VR game where I'm going to be swooping and barrel rolling and everything like that, and I just need to either learn to get it to sit in my stomach or I'm probably not going to get on with the game. It uses a virtual flight stick control, and I'm glad to hear you say like you were kind of getting on board with that and you like the option as well, because I didn't think the virtual flight stick would work for me at all. But I think through very smart use of haptic feedback to kind of let you know just about where you're tipping it and stuff, like it kind of clicks every time that you like shift it in one direction or another, and then you've got some vibration to know that you're like maybe getting near to the edge of where you can steer it. I think it's a really well designed system that after a couple of hours of gameplay, even though I knew I could probably get more accuracy out of using the touch sticks, I just found that such an immersive and engaging way to control any of the aircraft, basically, that I wouldn't go back to the sticks, even if like I was trying to get like a better medal in a mission. And so the thing about it is you have all these different missions, 5 different type of aircraft, 4 different islands. There's an enormous amount of content in the game. That each aircraft has its own specific missions for each island, pretty much. So when you start with that one-man chopper and you play, maybe it takes an hour or 2 to get the second aircraft, you're not done with that first chopper. And the next time you unlock an airport, you're going to go back and find an increasing range of different activities to do with that first aircraft too. Switch over to the second aircraft, switch over to the third, and there's an entirely different set of missions waiting for you on that island as well. And they all kind of like build in ways that keep the game fresh. So with that chopper, for example, you start off with kind of just like basic ring flights, like getting through rings as fast as possible or as accurately as possible. And then up to where I am now, I've got missions where not only are there missions where I have to try and land in a certain place as like pinpoint as possible, but multiple times am I having to land and take off. Or there's even missions where, and these are in the first game, but there are even missions where there are balloons around the world and you have to pick up a revolver and shoot them as you're flying around. And so there's a lot of variety even within just one type of aircraft, and you could get almost a full game's worth of content out of any one aircraft in the game. But the thing I really love about it is that anytime you switch to another aircraft, you are playing essentially a completely different game. The third aircraft, which is pretty much where I'm up to right now, is one called the Comet, which is a rocket-fueled jet that burns through its fuel really quickly. So you have to use it very sparingly, use it to get you up into the air, and then basically turn it off and glide through the rest of it.
That's super fun.
Yeah, and it completely changes the dynamic. And so you basically have 5 games in one where you're learning something completely different, and then you've got a whole different set of objectives for each one. And I think they've put such an amazing amount of variety in there, and also very tightly designed variety. So the big new addition to the game is combat, which obviously you had balloon combat in the first game, but the balloons weren't shooting back. Now you've got like drones and things that shoot back at you in some of the aircraft. And I was worried that was going to be that thing, you know, again, not being big on flight simulators like Star Wars Squadrons never really clicked with me either. Like, I don't like I don't like feeling like all I'm doing is twisting around perpetually forever. The thing about that here is the combat is very punchy and visceral. Yeah, it's like a couple of shots to bring down an enemy, you have complete control over your speed. You can get up into close proximity really, really quickly. And I think it's by design. You keep getting these really incredible moments where you're like almost going to collide, or like you blow up an enemy just as you like fly through them or something like that. And it's really fun cinematic kind of style of action. And they think of, again, even the combat, they keep coming up with new ways to interact with it. So there's this kind of almost Mario Kart drone mode where you're going through those rings, but then drones appear and you get extra points for taking them down. So there's it's kind of like going around a race course and using power-ups or something along those lines. And everything I was doing in the game was either making me feel like really empowered and like, this is so much fun. I feel like such a great pilot and I feel so professional and cool, even though never, ever, ever trust me in an actual cockpit for even a split second. And then you have different emotions you get from all the different types of objectives out there. One thing you have to do a lot in the game is land. And you get the hang of it over time.
I would not be good at that.
No, you get the hang of it over time, but it is a really, really tricky science at the start. And again, you have to learn it 5 times over for 5 different craft, basically. And that does feed into one of my complaints about the game, which is, even though it is a really fun kind of heart racing experience to judge a landing and make sure you're going to touch down without crashing, a lot of the missions ask you to land after finishing off the objective. So if you do like a 10-minute mission, and let's say it's a really, really tough mission, and you get a gold, and you're like, I cannot believe I got a gold. That is absolutely fantastic. You then turn around,
failed the landing.
You botch the landing. You're gonna have to do it all again. Which I spoke to the developer about it, and they said that's a key part of difficulty balancing in the game for us. And I understand, again, for a lot of the flight aficionados out there, they're like, what are you complaining about? That's cool. That's how you fly. And I do appreciate that. I just also, it reminds me of early era Grand Theft Auto games where you'd get to the end of a really, really long mission, accidentally flip the car with the NPC in it, and the car would blow up, and they'd be like, "Sorry, you have to do the entire mission again." It's not. Yeah. You can have options like that in there for the absolute hardcore player, while still catering to kind of more casual people like me that want to just really bank the win as soon as I've got it.
Yeah.
And to that point as well, the other thing I would like to see with the game is you have this big overworld map with these 4 different islands. But you basically have to jump in and out of the cockpit between every mission, and go back and select a new one. I would love to see some sort of Burnout Paradise style overworld where you can fly up to the missions, fly through a garage to change your vehicle on the fly.
Yeah.
Just so you're staying inside it more, because every time you crash as well, if you haven't pressed the pause menu and restarted the mission before you crash, it takes you back to the menu to reselect the mission, put that helmet on again, which isn't... The loading's very, very quick, so it's not the end of the world, but it's also just like a few more extra steps
totally
than I would like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are kind of... Those are things that I think could and hopefully will be fixed with the game. And outside of that, I've just been having such a good time with it, and a surprisingly good time with it, because, like I said, I'm like you, flight games not really my thing. I think this gets a really good balance of accessibility and some level of authenticity in terms of the cockpit controls.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Because the other thing about it is that you get free like levels of medals, obviously bronze, silver, gold, each of which earns you more and more money. So it is necessary to do pretty well to unlock the entire game, basically. And it's going to take you upwards of about, I'm going to say like 20 hours to get like all the aircraft and most of the airports. And then all that basically means is you've got all the missions then to go and do. So there's still basically the rest of the game out there. And I couldn't tell you just how much longer that's going to take, but certainly a lot more gameplay in there. And with the replayability of already just in one mission trying over and over again to get the gold, it's just an enormously generous and wealthy experience. And I think if you have any passing interest in it, if you played the first Ultrawings and thought it was pretty cool, I think you're really, really going to get a kick out of it. And I am very, 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 very positive on it.
And that was our review of Ultrawings 2. Make sure to check the VR Gamescast every Thursday for all the latest VR reviews and news.